All right, good morning, everybody. You are welcome to today's training. We thank the name of the Lord for this great day. So let's have a short moment of prayer as we start. Father, we thank you for this morning. We ask that we grant us understanding of everything we are going to learn. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Okay, so you are welcome. Thank you for joining us again today. We are here for the Ember Booster program, and this is the web design class. And once again, I'm Ifeoluwa, and I will be the one to take us through today's class. So we started the training last week. So we had our first class last week, and we are continuing today. So this is the second class for the Ember Booster program. So I want to welcome every one of us. I want to say good morning to you all from everywhere you are watching me this morning. So if you are here with me, either on Zoom or on Facebook, can I get a feedback from you? Can you say "I" or drop a comment on the Facebook platform? Okay. And I also believe you can hear my voice. So, all right. Hopefully others will join us, but we can't be waiting for everybody. So we have to get started. So as they are coming in, they will join us. All right. So you are welcome, Progress. I can see you are in the Zoom class already. Thank you for coming in. The class has started already. Okay. So I will go straight to what we have for today. Today we'll be having our the second theoretical class for the web design program. And probably by God's grace, we should finish the theoretical aspect today. And from Wednesday, we move to the practical aspect. So let's get started because of our time, okay? So permit me to share my screen now as we move on. All right, so here we are. You should start seeing my screen in some seconds. So what is the internet? That's where we are starting from today, because everything you will be building is based on the internet. So it's very important that we get to know what the internet is all about. So let's see what we have for us. What is the internet? So the internet connects people across the world to one another through a massive global network of computers. And devices. So with the internet, you can communicate with people across the world, access and share information. So many of us are already conversant with the internet. We have been using the internet for quite some time. We have been making use of the internet to connect to people, to chat, to send messages, to communicate in different ways. And with the internet, the global world is like a small village now. So we can reach out to people that are outside our continent within few seconds. In fact, in real time. So no breakage, just directly you can communicate as if the person is closer to you. So that is the power of the internet, and that is what the internet makes available for us. So today we want to see how we also can contribute to the internet. In fact, that's the essence of having your website. So you are contributing to the effort, to the content on the internet space. You are making use of the internet. You are leveraging on the internet to reach out to people with your website. And through that, they can get some information about you and your business or any organization you are building the website for. Then the second thing we want to look at is what is the World Wide Web? So you might have been hearing this very well. www. So the World Wide Web is a collection of documents and resources that people can interact with. So we access the web using the internet. The documents on the web are called web pages. So when we start building our website, we start hearing me talking about web pages, different web pages that we have on the website. In fact, whenever we talk about a website, what we are talking about is combination of different web pages. Okay, so the World Wide Web is just a collection of different documents and resources that people can interact with. So that is why when you want to access your website, you make use of what we call the www before the web address. It's just to show that you are trying to access a document that is stored in a particular place where people can reach out to you. So that is the World Wide Web. So it's just a collection of different documents. By the time you are building your own website also, it means you are adding to the World Wide Web. You are adding your own documents. You are adding your own web, your pages to the World Wide Web. Okay. Now, let's go to the aspect of understanding domain and domain extension. Now, this is very important for you as a web designer. You must get a good grasp of what a web domain is and what a web domain extension is all about. So if you look at the slide I'm currently sharing, please pay attention to the slide very well. And let me know, probably you can't see anything on the slide, or probably you can hear my voice so that I can improve on that. But I believe you can see the screen and you can hear my voice clearly. Okay, so when you have a web address called www.yourwebsite.com, the meaning of that is your domain is your website. That is the name for your website. That is the domain. Whereas for every domain, there is a domain extension. So the domain extension is the .com, .ng, .edu.ng, .io, .ai. So what you have after your website name is what we call your domain extension. Later, I will show you the different interpretations for these domain extensions. So when you have your website.com, that is your domain. Then the .com in that domain is what we call your domain extension. Good. And for every website, you must have a domain. That is, you must have your web address. That is your own personal universal locator, your own personal IP address, your own personal address on the web page, so that it can be easier to locate your web pages. So for every web address, there is an IP address. So at the back end of this name that you are seeing, there are a combination of numbers that makes it your unique address on the web, on the World Wide Web. And that is what we call the IP address. Okay, but we are not going into that for now. But the most important thing you should know is that every website has a domain. Good. Then we have what we call subdomain. Subdomain is just a web page or a website inside another domain. So for instance, if you have something like site.yourwebsite.com, the meaning of that is your website is the domain name, but the site that precedes it is showing that this particular website that you have the domain as yourwebsite.com has a child website called site.yourwebsite.com. So for instance, you can have something like blog.yourwebsite.com. You can have something like courses.yourwebsite.com. That is, this particular website is just a subsidiary of the main website. It's just a child of the main website. That's what we call subdomain. Okay? Do we have any question regarding that before I proceed? So far we have Progress, Victoria, and Tertiary in the house on Zoom. So I believe other people have also joined through Facebook. So good morning to you all once again, and thank you for joining us. So I want to continue now. So that is about understanding domain and domain extension. All right. So now let's go to the aspect of different types of domain extension that we have and their interpretations. The different type of domain extension we have and their interpretations. Okay. So when you have a domain extension like .org, what you are saying is that you are a non-governmental organization. The website you are building is a non-governmental organization website. So that means it's a non-profit organization. That's why it is called .org. Then when you have a website that carries a domain extension like .edu, which we popularly call edu. So for instance, in your school website will carry something like .edu for higher institution or colleges. Then for secondary schools, you can see something like .sch, that's for high schools. Then for tech companies, you can see something like .tech, that is .tech. And for a Nigerian organization, you can see something like .ng. For a governmental organization, especially a public government organization, you can see something like .gov. Then for an AI-powered platform, you can see something like .ai. So there are lots of domain extensions you can use. You can have something like .com, that's for commercial organization, or .com.ng, that is for commercial organization in Nigeria. So we have a lot of domain extension that we can make use of. Now, let's move on to the different types of websites, that we have. And through that, we'll be able to have a deeper understanding of the varieties of opportunities that you have available for you as a web designer. Okay, so we have what we call personal websites. So these are websites that you built for individuals. So it's just to promote a particular individual. So, and that is one of the most simplest kind of websites you can ever build. Then we have commercial websites. These are basically business websites. So they are built for small and medium businesses or for big organizations also, just to promote their products and their services. And this kind of website has a unique goal of making sales. So you design the website to be able to draw sales or to draw leads. Later, you will understand those statements better when we get to the marketing side of your website. Okay, so we also have your NGO website. These are websites that are basically to promote a non-governmental organization. And the goal of this kind of website is to generate what we call donations. So you build your website for donations and to be able to get people to donate to your cause. And that's the major purpose of an NGO website. Then your social networking platforms, websites like your Facebook.com is a website, although it's a web application, but it's also a website. So, okay, all right. Thank you for that note. I just received a note. Do we have anybody joining us that is not, that doesn't understand English language? Okay. Or probably the language you are getting from your side. I don't understand. I got one notification now that someone has set the language to English. Am I speaking Yoruba language? Okay. All right. So social networking platforms are also some websites you can build. Then we have your blogs, basically to share your ideas and to share your knowledge with people, with a specific group of people. So you can have blogs. For instance, if you're a web designer, you can have blogs where you write about websites. So you write about different kind of opportunities available when you have a personal website or when you have a business website. So you can write, blogs are very good for your personal, for your promotion or for the promotion of the website. And most importantly, blogs helps in search engine optimization. So it's highly recommended that every website should have a blog page. Okay, so we have vlogs like your YouTube, like your Vimeo, a lot of them like that. So we have vlogs, that is video logs, instead of blogs. Blogs are basically articles, written journals, online journals. But when we talk about vlogs, basically they are blogs that are mostly videos. Then we have your forums like your Nairaland. Is Nairaland still existing? I believe so. Good. So Nairaland is a very popular forum in Nigeria. And in fact, they are one of the earliest forums, online forums that we have in Nigeria. So forums like that, you can build them. They are also websites. Okay. Then we have tools websites. Tools websites are basically a website that allows you to be able to carry out some activities or some online task. For instance, you can have websites that allows you to be able to generate different codes. Website that allows you to be able to generate terms and conditions, privacy policy. Website that allows you to be able to carry out some designs online, that allows you to be able to remove picture background. We will use a lot of them as we progress in this in this training. So those are tools website. Then we have portfolio websites. By the end of this training, every one of us here should have a portfolio website. In fact, in as much you go through this training, in 4 weeks' time, you should have your portfolio website. Your portfolio website basically will be your capstone project. So portfolio website is to show your works, is to reveal your works to your prospective clients and to tell them what you are capable of. Then you have your management system website. Management system websites are basically used in organizations to manage some of their processes. And most times, these management system websites are not available for the public in some instances. Then you have the big one, which is the e-commerce website. These are very big type of website, and it involves you taking orders and managing products online to be able to ship it to the customers. Okay, so these are different types of websites that we have. Sorry, I'm not showing them to us visually because I know we still get to see them as we progress. So we have a long way to go, so I have to be moving at a very fast pace. So if you have any questions, if you have anything to add or to subtract or to divide or to multiply, anything you have, let me know in the comment section on the Zoom platform and on the Facebook platform. Then I'll be able to take them. So those are the different types of websites that we have. All right, let's proceed to the other aspect of our theoretical aspect, the other theoretical aspect of the training. So now we want to look at the planning and conceptualizing a website. Planning and conceptualizing a website, okay? How do you set up your website? Let's say, for instance, you just land your first client and your client is expecting you to come up with a website for him, and your client happens to be a business owner who provides digital marketing services. So how do you go about the project? How do you get started? So that's what we want to learn now. How do you plan and conceptualize a website? So please pay attention here because these are the things you will do regularly as a web designer. Now, most times, these are not taught in web design schools because they just want you to know how to design websites immediately. But you need to learn it because these are the business side of the website. And so you have to go through them. Okay, let's start. We have what we call your design thinking process. Most times people think that to be able to build websites, you have to be talented specially for it. Obviously, you can learn it. So you can learn to think as a web designer. You can learn how to think as a web designer. You don't necessarily have to be specially talented to be able to do that. You don't need to be imparted spiritually to be able to do that. And we don't need to lay hands on you to be able to achieve that. Okay, but if you need to be laid hands on, maybe we organize one for you. Okay, so the design thinking process is something you can learn and you can be very good at. So let's start. The first one is you define your problem. So the client has reached out to you to give him a website to promote his digital marketing business. So the first thing you need to do as the web designer is to consider what is the problem I'm trying to solve with this website. Now, a lot of people made mistakes at this aspect. A problem defined is a problem I've solved, as an anonymous quote says. I don't know the person that made that quote, but I think that's a wonderful quote. So when you understand your problem, you will have solved the problem 50%. That's the meaning. Most times, Web designer doesn't know the problem they are solving. And I said it in our last class, the basic problem you are solving as a web designer is to be able to help your clients to achieve their most important objective. Okay, so okay, sorry, please help me pick this. All right, so as I was saying, last time I mentioned that, okay, I'm going to answer a question now. I didn't get the personal website. Okay, someone said he didn't get the aspect of the personal website that I explained. Okay, so I will take that at the end of the class so that I will not have to, because I've moved a little bit away from that aspect. Okay, so I will come back to that at the end of the class. Thank you for that question. All right, let me continue. So when we talk about defining your problem, what we are saying is that what is the major solution you want to provide? That's the meaning. So what is the problem the client is facing? And how will this website provide solution to that problem? Let me give you an instance. Okay, I was given an illustration of a client who is into digital marketing. All right, so the digital marketer, one of the major problems of the digital marketer is to get clients that need his or her services. Okay, so you want to generate leads. That's one of the major problems you want to solve, lead generation. So you want to get more contacts of businesses, organizations, personal individuals that need your marketing services. So when you are building a website for a digital marketer, you are building the website so that the digital marketer can generate enough leads that can be converted to sales. Do we get it? So that is the problem. So you take time to understand the problem you are trying to provide solution to, and you consider the audience you want to communicate to visually. So the expected result and the platform where the design will be used should also be considered. All these things will help you in producing the right website for your clients. So take your time to understand the problem you are trying to solve. All right? The next one is research. After you've defined your problem, you want to take out time to do some research works. So you want to make findings on similar designs to gain relevant knowledge of the design to be made. So you use your research to draw inspiration for the design project. So now let's do a little practical. So I'm going to show you now some platforms where you can carry out your web design research. So I will start with the first website that I will present to us. Okay, let me share my browser screen. All right. Okay. Okay, so let me go to a website that we can go for our web design research. So the first one is freepik.com. You can go to freepik.com. Freepik is spelled as FREEPIK.com. So you can see it on their website also. This is the name, freepik.com. So when you get to freepik.com has collections of different kind of vectors, images, videos, Photoshop elements, templates that you can make use of. So you can start your research from there. So let's say I want to search for business websites UI. So that is maybe since I'm building a business website, so the research I'm doing is to get the UI of similar business website that I've been dealing with. So by making a search on freepik.com, you can see different layouts of templates of websites that have been designed. This is just the user interface, the UI, and you can see a lot of them. So with that, you have an idea, you have an understanding of how the layout used to go when it comes to building your business website. Okay, so that is for freepik.com. I won't take too much time on that. Then you can also go to pinterest.com for your research. So go to pinterest.com. So on pinterest.com, you can also see make a search for different layouts. So let's wait for that to load. Okay, so this is pinterest.com. So when you get there, do your search for business websites. Sorry, it's still loading. Business websites design or UI, anyone. Okay, so now you can see different layouts. Your work is just to click on them and go through them to see how this layout can be of help to you. Do you get it? All right, so that is what you have here on Pinterest. So these are different layouts. Okay, so now let's go to another one, dribble.com. And that will be the last website I will give you for your research. So I will also put the links in the Zoom platform. Then probably we will also put that on the Facebook platform. So you go to Dribble. Sorry. Like I'm missing my. All right, sorry. So this is dribble.com. So on dribble.com, you can also do your search. So under inspiration, so click on inspiration at the top left-hand corner, then search 18 million plus shots. So just type your business website design. Okay. All right. So now you can see different layouts, different samples that you can take inspiration from. So those are the 3 web platforms that I believe can help us in our research works. So let me come to the chat section now and put those 3 web address there. So the first one is freepik.com. Then the second one is pinterest.com. And the third one is dribble.com. So when you get to dribble.com, click on inspiration by the top left-hand corner, and you'll be able to have your search. All right, that's it for us. So I've posted that for us on our chat platform. So please help me post that on Facebook also. Okay, so let me go back to my slide. I believe you are still following me. So we just finished the aspect of research. Okay. So I quickly want to drop the link for the people on Facebook also. Okay. All right, so to save my time, maybe I will do that. Okay, let me do that later. We will do that at the end of the class. Okay, so let's research. That's research. Then one thing you should know about research is don't copy, use it to inspire new creative works that is original. So don't copy people's design and use it for your own website. No, we don't do that. You use it to inspire new creative works. Then sketches. Now that you have an idea of how your website will go, so you begin to turn your ideas into simple sketches. So as a web designer, it's important that you have your pencil and your book or a clean paper that you can use to sketch out your ideas and your imaginations. So you start bringing your imaginations to reality. Now, the sketches doesn't have to look like the finished product. It only have to be informative enough to guide you. For instance, where you need to put images, you can just put a square, then you cross it with like a star. So as you can see on the images by the right-hand side, that's just an example of how we do web sketches. Okay, so you can do that on a paper, you can do that on your tab if you have a tab. You can also make use of some online platforms like your Jamboard, many things. Like you can use your annotation on Zoom. If you have the Zoom app, you can make use of the annotation. A lot of things can be used for your sketches. So for me personally, I prefer to sketch on paper using my hand. Then when I get to the prototype stage, I start prototyping. And since we are making use of WordPress, I will also show you another way you can do your sketches by making use of your one of the plugins we are going to use called Elementor. So we use that for our wireframing. So sketches are also similar to your wireframing, just to show some guidelines that you want to use. Okay. Then after the wireframing or the sketches, you have what we call your prototype. The prototype is the real design. That is where you put your design, you unleash your design skills. So you start creating your design, making use of your design software. So this time around, our web design software that we'll be using is WordPress. So we'll be making use of WordPress in this particular web design training. So you make use of all the necessary design elements and try to keep it simple. So your design should be readable, aesthetically pleasing, and useful. All right. So test. Don't be afraid to show your design to someone to check for you. So after you have created your prototype, when your design, you have done justice to everything that needs to be included in your website, there is a need for you to test your website. It's a pity. I've seen some websites before in which you still see dummy pages, you still see dummy tests, you find some bugs on their website. So you check for all those things, you check all your buttons, you check all your links, you ensure they are working well. You check your images, ensure they have the necessary alternate text, make sure they are well formatted. All these things make it possible for your website to work well. So it's very important that you test your website before you launch it. Okay? So let someone check for you if the envision message is well visually communicated. So this aspect of design thinking process is very important to product designers, and it's also important to you also as a web designer. Very important stage. Okay? Then the next thing we'll be looking at now is the basic 8 core pages of a website. So before I move into that, do we have any question concerning? Okay, I skipped this stage, sorry. So the last stage in your design thinking process is the most interesting stage. That's the presentation stage. So you want to launch your website, you want to present it to the clients, you want to get the website accessible to everybody. So you launch your website, you ensure all your pages are well connected, then you optimize your website for search engine, you download the backup of your website. Please, this is a WordPress website. Sometimes some things might go wrong, even though we will try our best to ensure nothing goes wrong. But it's also important that you back up your website. Very important. So download a backup of your website. And okay, I should show the testing again. All right, I will do that. So get the backup of your website. I will show you how to back up your website when we get to the practical stage. Then you test your payment gateway, especially if you are running an e-commerce website. You must test your payment gateway, ensure it is working well, so that when people click on your buy now button, they are directed as it ought to be. Okay. So the testing, this is the testing slide for the person that asked for it. Okay. So I said the testing side aspect is where you check for your websites. You check your website to ensure everything is working well. So make sure you have communicated the message very well, visually and through other means you are using. So make sure you are fulfilling the purpose of building the website in the first place. Make sure you can capture the leads if the purpose of designing the website is to capture leads. If the purpose of designing the website is to tell people about you, make sure you are doing that well. So this aspect of design is very important, because sometimes if you don't pay attention to it, there are some buttons that might not be working on your website. There are some links that are not directing very well. There are some pages that are not well connected. All those things, you want to ensure you don't have them on your website. Then you can also show someone, send the link of your website to another person, let them check it out from their own side. Ask them questions like, when you get to this website, what is the first impression you have about the website? What do you think this website is about? Don't tell them what the website is about yet. Just ask them the question, let them analyze the website from their own viewpoint. So this will help you to be able to achieve what you want. Okay, so that's testing. All right, let's proceed. So we've talked about present and launch. Now let's see the basic 8 core pages of a website. What are the pages or the web pages that made up a website? And you might have been seeing this on different web pages on different websites. So what are these 8 core web pages? Now, this is not really compulsory that you must have all the 8 pages, but as I'm explaining, I will mention some pages that are very important that you should have in any website. So one of them is your home page. For every website, there must be an home page. So I will show you what an home page looks like using our own website. Okay, so I will just go to afterschoolacademy.ng. Okay, so as soon as you access the website called afterschoolacademy.ng, this is where you land. So this landing page is what we call your home page. So the first impression that people will get to have about your website is your home page. So the home page is just basically the landing page for your website. So this is what we call the home page. So that is the first impression that people will have about your website. You get it? Okay. So this is the beginning of your website funnel. And this page should display your vision clearly and include relevant CTAs. CTAs are just call to actions. So the navigation should be user-friendly, and all content must be relevant and well connected. So these are the things you should pay attention to about your home page. So it is the beginning of your website funnel. Now, website is just like a funnel in your business process. In digital marketing, there is something we call your sales funnel. So your sales funnel basically is just a pathway or a journey that your prospects will have to undergo or pass through before they get to buy from you. So in that funnel, your website also has a function is playing. So one of it is your website can be the point through which people get to submit their data, like the they get to give you their phone numbers, give you their email address. So sometimes you might have done that, you might have interacted with websites like that before, in which you see a free offer when you access a particular website. And in order for you to download that free offer, like an ebook, you have to submit your email and your phone numbers. So this is just the first thing about your website, and that's why it's called the home page. Then on your home page, you must effectively use your white space. So white space allows for spacing between sections, helping with readability and bringing more focus to areas you want to draw attention. So on every website, there must be good white space. Okay, so that is about your home page. Then the next page that is as important as your home page is the about page. So this is the page where you give customers or visitors an in-depth information about who you are. So this is where they get to know you. So on this page, you sell yourself or you sell the organization. Okay, you can barely hear me. Oh, wow. All right. Okay, I will improve on that now. Let me see what I can do about that. So as soon as my voice has improved, you let me know. Okay, so how far now? Can you hear me now? Let me be sure of that. Can you hear me now? So I've changed the microphone I'm using. So let me be sure you can hear me now. So please, I need a feedback concerning that. Okay. All right. So it's like the people on Facebook, the people on Facebook are hearing me clearly. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So I can progress now. Okay. Now someone asked me to explain the white space again. So let me quickly do that again for us. So I was saying that your white space allows for spacing between sections. Okay, let me show that visually so that we can understand it. So I will go back to our home page and I will use that to explain what I mean by white space. All right, so if you look at this home page, you will notice there are some, just like from the left-hand side, there is a margin to the left-hand side before we start the first test. Those empty spaces you are seeing are what we call white space. So they are just like a breathing space for other elements on your website. So your margin, the margin at the top, the margin by the side, the margin below, all those spaces are called white space. If you move to this next section also, all these empty spaces you see around the text, the empty spaces you see around the cards, this margin, these spaces are the white spaces. So they made it easier for your content to be, for people to be able to read and consume your content. So white spaces are just the negative spaces. They are the spaces in which that are not occupied by any other elements like text, like images, like buttons. So that's what we call white space. Those empty spaces, not necessarily white. It can be blue, it can be red, it can be black, it can be anything. But they are just negative space, empty space. And they are very important in design. They make your work to be clean and neat. For instance, look at this section now, white chooser section. You can see the spaces you have around that text. It makes it easier for concentration. So I can easily concentrate on the 4 cards that I have here. I can easily concentrate on the title without occupying the whole space. Now, this is your web pages are not like a land area. You know, when you buy a land and you're trying to build on the land, most times people want to use the whole land to build, even though that's not correct. You must still have spaces. You have car park spaces. You have spaces for work area. You have spaces for your plantings, like your landscaping. But you know, in Nigeria, we don't put into consideration all those things. We just want to use the whole land because land is expensive. But that is not true when it comes to design. design, in fact, one of the best way to know a good designer is how he make use of the white space. So thank you for that question. That is just a simple explanation about white space. And you can see it all over the space, all over the home page here. Lot of empty spaces, lot of negative spaces to make our design to be clean and readable, accessible, and comprehensible. Another thing about white space is that it fulfills the law of less is more. Less is more. That is, the lesser the content, the more the value. So less is more, and is one of our is a design principle that you can also commit to your art. Less is what? Is more. All right. So if you are still with me, can you say I to me? That is HI. Last week when I said I asked people to say I, they are typing capital I. Yeah. I was just saying capital I. I means HI. All right, thank you. God bless you. So you are welcome. Let's continue in our training. Okay, so that's about the issue of white space. So Victoria, you are making use of the annotation. I will disable you now. Okay. So let me erase that. Sorry, Victoria. You are not allowed to use that function while the training is going on. All right. So let me go back to my slide as we progress. So that's about your home page. Okay, sorry, it's all right. I understand. Now let's go to the about page. So the about page is where you take the customers or your website visitors. You give them in-depth information about who you are. You reveal what the brand is all about, what problem they are solving, and the solutions. So it reveals the brand's why. So that's the purpose of the brand, the why of the brand. So this is also the page to state the brand's vision, the mission, the values, and other accomplishments of the brand. So that's what we do on the about page. That's the content of the about page. It's just the why of the organization that you are trying to promote using the website. For instance, let me show you the about page of After School Academy. So you can see about us. So by clicking on the about us page, you will notice that everything on that about page is just to tell you the why of After School Academy. So we are building capacity for relevance and talents to challenge status quo in their chosen career. So that's a short statement about the why of After School Academy. So you can see who we are, our mission, our vision, and that's all. So we have a very simple about page. This is a very simple about page. After School Academy, one of our value is simplicity. So that's why if you go to our website, if you go through most of the digital content that we release, simplicity is a very important thing in it. So that's our own about page. You can have a more complex about page, but basically the intention of an about page is to show your readers or your web visitors the why of the organization. Do we get that? Okay, beautiful. So let's proceed. So the product or service page. So this particular aspect of your website is where you display the brand's products and services. So the benefits and features of the product or services are revealed, and the respective costs are revealed in this aspect. So it can also include testimonial slide at the lower end, closer to the footer. So the product page or the service page can be renamed based on the type of organization you are building the website for. So for instance, After School Academy, our own service or product is basically course creation. So our own service page is not titled service or product. So we titled it with course list or something related to that. So let me show us that practically, what we do on the service page. So I'm back now on the website of After School Academy, okay? So let me just go to, at the top here, you can see Academy, okay? That's our service that gives a drop down of the list of our service pages. So we have different service pages. So one of them is the Beginners Academy, is one of our service page. And the service we render under Beginners Academy is the Digital Literacy Graduate Program and the Teens Digital Literacy Program. So I can click on the Digital Literacy Graduate Program. By clicking on it, I'm going to see the content of that particular page. So you'll be able to get to know more about the Digital Literacy Graduate Program. You can see the action button, then the title on the page about this course, the course delivery, who is this course for, the duration, then the certification. Okay, so then you can see if you want to download the syllabus, that's the button. If you want to make payment instantly, you can go ahead and click the button to make payment. So why choose After School Academy? Now, this is a service page, so you want to show people the benefits of enrolling for your service or for buying your product. So that's why you have the benefits aspect, which is why choose After School Academy. And these are basically the 4 reasons why you should choose After School Academy. Then for your service page, there must be a call to action. So the call to action that is very important to us is the enroll now button. So we do that, you put that there, and you can direct your readers very well. So this is just a sample of a service page. Do you get it? So we have a lot of service pages on this particular website, as you can see from this navigation menu. Okay, so if you go to the home page, we also have a general service page. By the time you click on the Explore All Programs, you can see the course list. So available courses on After School Academy. So you can see the course list. This is an example of a service page. So you have all your course list there. We have your free courses, then some things to help people to make decisions. Some of the numbers of finished sections you have had. So why choose us again? You can see the aspect of testimonials. So you can have testimonials just to help to convince people to come for your service. And I said it at the beginning, you must know the purpose of your website and you must build in respect to that purpose. So the purpose of this particular website is to generate leads and to get enrollment for the courses. So, and that is why everything about the page is directed towards that. Okay, so that's about your product or service page. Now let's go to your next important page, and that is your blog page. Now, blog page is not necessarily one of the most important page on your website. You might have a website without having a blog page, but it's highly recommended that you have a blog page. So the blog page is where you show your writing skills. So that is the page for writing about your product and your service. So if you are selling a product, you can write blogs about the product. You can get people to make people to have an understanding about your product, the features of your product, how they can get to use your product, the testimonials about your product, case studies about your product. All these things can be written as blogs. Now, how does this get to help your website? It helps the visibility and the ranking of your website on search engines. So it's easier for people to discover your blogs on search engines, because with your blogs, you can have different keywords, and search engine work with keywords. So you will get to know this more when we get to your website search engine optimization. So all these keywords, you can build a lot of keywords traffic for your website. You can build a lot of traffic for important keywords so that your website can be made available on search engines and it can rank high on search engines. So for your blogs, you can write about your product updates, trends about your product, how-tos, benefits, features, etc., as I have said. Okay, so if you have any question, you can let me know through the chat section on the 2 platforms that we are using, on Zoom and on Facebook. All right, so another important page that you need for your website is your terms and conditions page. So this is one of your legal pages. Now, many people have reached out to me in the past, and in fact, they still ask that question. I tried to run an ad on Facebook to a particular landing page on my website, and Facebook decided not to approve my ad? What's the problem? Good. So if you are running an ad to a web page, especially your website page, if you don't have your terms and conditions page, your ad will not be approved. I can bet that with you. You need terms and conditions, you need your privacy policy page. If you want to generate leads on Facebook or on any external platform, maybe on Google Ads, on YouTube Ads, generate leads to your website or from your website, you need the terms and conditions page. And in fact, in some locations, in some nations, without these legal pages, you can run a website. Like your website can be shut down. So they are very important. You need the terms and condition pages, and you need your privacy policy page. Now, your terms and condition page is just where you state the terms and conditions that every user of your website should adhere to. And this also helps to protect you as an organization in case of a law battle, or God forbid, law battles or things like that. If you might be sued for some things. So if you don't have a quality terms and conditions to back up what you are doing on your website, you might be shocked though. Okay, so make sure you help your clients to have a good terms and conditions page. Okay, and you can generate a copy of terms and conditions on hsupertools.com. Okay, what page do we have after about page? That's the next question I have. All right, I will show that to us again. So after your about page, the next page is your product and service page. Okay, and it doesn't have to follow the sequence. So don't think that after the home page, the next thing should be about page, then the next thing should be service page, then the next thing should be blog page. So it can follow any sequence that you want. You understand? It doesn't have to follow that sequence. It's just for you to decide on how you want to arrange your website based on the most important thing to you. Beautiful. Okay, so that's the answer to that question. Okay, I said you can generate a copy of terms and conditions from hsupertools.com. Let me show you how a terms and conditions page looks like, so that everything I'm saying will not be looking abstract to us. Okay, so let me scroll down to our footer. So basically, most times the links to your terms and conditions are found at the footer side of your website. So I will click on terms. Okay, so you can see terms and conditions. Now, these are legal statements, so they are not interesting. So they can be very boring. And you can see some legal words inside it. And now, make sure you read your terms and conditions very well. Even though you are generating it, maybe using a third-party application, you must read it very well to ensure that everything inside are things you also as an organization you agree with. Okay, so you have your terms and conditions, like terms and conditions for cookies. So because most websites use cookies. Cookies are just things you use to retrieve users' details based on their visits, and you can also use it for tracking. And cookies also helps your visitors to load your browsers very fast, your website very fast. So you let them know why the terms and conditions that guides your usage of cookies. You also give terms and conditions based on your licenses. So materials that are found on your website, what are the licenses that are guiding them? Okay, so the hyperlinking to your content, who can link to your content, things like that. So you put the terms and conditions for that there also. So their privacy, you lead them to the privacy policy, reservation rights, removal of links from our website. So now all these things, you might think they are not necessary, but they are necessary. For instance, if you have a particular web page on your website, and if people find that particular web page to be offensive, so you can tell them that they are free to contact and inform you at any moment. So you will consider the request and you will make the right correction. Now, if this is not there, and probably someone finds something offensive on your website and they decide to sue you for that, you won't have any legal justification to show that you have already stated on your website that if anybody find anything offensive, they should reach out to you. You get it? So you need all these things on ground, even though they look very subtle, like they are not necessary. Then your disclaimer is very important. Disclaimer is very, if you take time to read the disclaimer, it will amaze you. All these things are very important. Limit or exclude our or your liability for death or personal injury. Like if people have, maybe in the process of using your website, someone died, or maybe your website, the information on your website, the person make use of that information and the person died or something like that. Anything like that can happen. God forbid bad thing. You give a disclaimer that it doesn't have anything to do with you. People should contact necessary platforms. You are not trying to give all this financial advice, all those funny disclaimers. You get it? Okay? So it's just to help you in case of legal issues. Now, that's about your terms and conditions. Now, let me show you the next legal page. That's your privacy policy. So this is our own privacy policy. Privacy policy is just to tell people how you use their information. So that's what we call privacy policy. So when you collect people's data, now this is very important, especially when you are going international. If your website will be made available for people outside your nation, outside Nigeria, you need privacy policy. You must tell them how you use their data. What do you do with their names? What do you do with their phone numbers? What do you do with their email address, all those information you are collecting on your website. And this is another reason why Facebook might not approve your ad if they can't find a privacy policy on your website, because privacy is very important. The way you manage people's content is very important. So the privacy that is guiding your advertisements, because you run ads on your website, the privacy that is guiding all these things, all your tags, like your tracking codes that you are putting on your website, what are the privacy that is guiding them? So all these things will be placed on your website. We have two different kinds of privacy rights now. We have the CCPA and the GDPR. So all these are legal things that you don't necessarily have to disturb yourself about, but you need to have them on your website. Okay, so that is your second legal page. Wow, what I just explained to you now is very rare to find people explaining it. But those are the things you need to know, because you are learning web design for the purpose of running a web design agency. So it's important you get all these things, or you have the knowledge of all these things. And that's why we are taking pains to teach you. You might not necessarily see it in other places, but it's good you have the knowledge of it. And no one knows, maybe after this class, your first client will be coming from United States of America. If you are building website for a US man and you don't have legal pages, you will not be representing yourself well. Okay? So that's I've talked about privacy policy page also. Later, I will tell you how to get those things done. All right, the next one is your error page. We call it the 404 error page. Now, 404 error page is just a page that will be displayed anytime people insert a URL, that is a link that is not available on your website. So it also helps your search engine optimization so that people will not be directed to where they ought not to be directed to. So when a link is not available on your website and people are trying to search for something related to that, your 404 error page will be displayed. I will show us a sample of that when we get to the practical side of the website. You cannot easily see it on any website unless you type something that's not available on that website. So if that page is not available, let me do a trial here. Okay. So I'll go back. I'm going back to our website. And on After School Academy NG, instead of having afterschoolacademy.ng/privacy policy, let's say I just type policy. Now, that page does not exist on our page. So if you search for it, it will not give a result. So the result you should get should be a 404 error page. Do you get it? So that is still loading, but it's like my internet is a little bit slow. Okay, all right. So now it's saying page not found. It's still loading. You will have seen the 404 error page. So on that 404 error page, basically you want to direct people correctly. So you should have a button that can lead them, let's say, back to your home page. So back to home page, they can find what they are looking for. So the 404 error page is very important. It's just to guide people so they will not be having issues with links on your website. All right, let's leave that for now and move on. Any question? Let me wait and take a question before I proceed. Any question from anybody? Any question? Please check on Facebook or so if there are questions. Any question? Any addition? Let me see. All right, can the terms and condition page be updated or edited after the website has been launched? Yes, you can. So the terms and condition page can be updated and it can also be edited. Thank you for that question. So you can. Everything on your website can be updated and edited after the launch. All right, so now we can proceed. So we want to see the basic parts of the website. So I have given us a clue about this in our first class, but it's good that I take time to go through it again in a very in-depth manner. All right, so let's see the basic parts of a website. For every website you see out there, there are some structure that they follow, and that is what we want to look at now. Okay, so the first thing about a website is what we call your header and your menu section. So I mentioned it last time. I will also talk about it. So this is the uppermost part of a website. So this